Yeah, Kiki came about after Lova, and I had seen on the runway a piece that looked similar to this, and I just fell in love with it. I thought I'm just gonna have to make this because when I see something that I really, really like, I'm just putting it on the needle and I'm trying as I'm going to create something similar, not exactly the same, but and that's how Kiki came about. Working with Ito, of course, I'm gravitating to go to yarns that I know is going to behave a certain way. And I feel like there's so many different yarns you can use. This is what I choose. And I just love to knit top down because you can try it as you go along and you can lengthen it where you want it to be lengthened. And for me, it works really well. Most of my pieces are top down. And yeah, I think that's my go-to. That's my go-to.
Top down. So one of the things that I've noticed about the both of the sweaters that I'm immediately drawn to is this wide raglan,
Yeah.
which is not something that we see all the time. And I know it's a little bit confusing for people at first, but it's such a great look.
I think it is. I think it kind of elevates it a little bit, and I think there's 9 stitches between the raglan has 9 stitches. It just becomes such a eye-catching detail on the pattern.
Right.
And yeah,
Um, we talked a little bit too in Flock Talk about the depth of the armhole, which for some people is kind of concerning, right? So I had suggested that they just do maybe one fewer row in between increases to
absolutely.
to shorten that armhole a little bit. You don't
Yeah.
see a problem with that.
No, I don't see a problem when I'm wearing it, but I see why people are wondering that maybe when you're lifting up your arms, that it's going to lift up the whole sweater. And I just like that look. But if you can definitely do what you're saying, go ahead and
You don't
instead
think
of
there'd be a
doing,
problem with
no,
doing that?
I don't think it would be a problem doing that. Take off, I think it's every fourth row, if I remember correctly, right?
I think at that point, I think it depends on the size.
Yeah.
So for 32 to 36, you're doing it every rounds 1 through 6, and then you increase. So it looks like it's more than that.
So it might be every sixth and further on. It's a while ago that I designed this and I'm on to so
Yeah.
many new things. So as soon
Right.
as I
No, I get
finish,
it.
yeah. But I can definitely see somebody maybe making one less, maybe one less of the repeats. I
And that's
think would,
okay.
yeah, I would think that would be okay.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, there's not really, at first I was concerned that maybe there would be a problem with the angle, but I noticed that the angle here is different than the angle here, so it should be okay.
Yeah, I think it should be okay. And I was reading too what you were saying that if somebody did not want the flare arm, it's absolutely okay to skip those and keep them just, straight and not do it. I just thought, again, that was part of the design that you see those, double increases happening there.
I love the bell sleeve.
Yeah, yeah. But I just love when people want to change it up and do something different. I give them all the, credits for doing that because that's the fun part. You don't have to do exactly, as long as the measurements and the numbers are kind of the same, so that it fits, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one other thing that we were talking about, um, I noticed that you've made the increases. You do knit one, yarn over, and then you knit into the back, which makes that little bar. I mean, and you know that if you knit into the front, you don't have the bar. So I'm assuming that you did that as a design element
Yes. Yes.
to
Absolutely.
make that very noticeable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But they don't have to do that if they don't want to.
No. No.
I think it's great. I can't wait to make it. Most everybody wants to make it longer.
Yes. And I have heard that, from several people too. I would say
Yeah.
50-50. I have 50-50 people want to do it cropped with high-waisted pants or skirt, and then there are some that definitely wants it longer. I actually had a knit along with a local store here in California, and one person didn't want to have the thickness of the fabric. They wanted to go a little lighter. So I made a swatch using a lighter yarn with the mohair on top. It's going to be slightly see-through, but not enough to not so you can't wear it. And she's super happy with that. So as long as you get the gauge.
I love it. I'm so excited. So I'm looking around at who's here, and most of these folks are pretty solid knitters, but I thought we could go ahead and get started. Did anybody have any questions about anything before we got started? Did everybody do a gauge swatch? Are you comfortable with the measuring the slightly stretched ribbing after my blog post? I hope I didn't make you feel bad. I didn't mean to.
No, 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 no. You know what? I love that because now I can open up my eyes and say, hey, I probably should have said something a little bit more, what I meant by that. So no, I don't take that as it's always good.
I'll tell you what, Britt-Marie, put in your next iteration of the pattern, send them to that blog post. Link to my blog post,
Okay.
and or you can put it, you can put it out there on your website. I'm happy to have people refer to that, and then you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yep, yep, yep. That sounds great.
Yeah. Okay. So we have 10 folks here. Some of them are hiding. I see Sue Davis is hiding. Um, that's okay. Sarah. Okay. Well, nice to see you guys. I think we have a good number. So, like I said, did everybody swatch? Does anybody have any questions about gauge? Ronnie.
All right, so I swatched and I swatched in a 6. And here it is. And what happened after I did it and steamed it and all, it's now 3.5 across. Still 4 up and down. So I went to an 8. So here's my 8. I like the 8 better. It's 4 after steaming it and the whole bit. It's 4 across. So it holds the 4. It's 4.25 up and down, so a little bit longer if do this. You can see that. Well, anyway, no, I can see it. You can't. There it is. It's a little bit not square. It's not 4 by 4. It's 4 by 4.25. Is that a big deal? And if I like the 8 better, should I go with the 8, or should I say, oh, well, I have a little one, I have a bigger one, let's go with the 7 and not swatch it, just do the 7. So what do you think?
Can you
Well,
not make a third swatch?
my
Go ahead.
my immediate reaction would say it's all about the fabric. I shouldn't say it's all about the fabric. You need to have gauge. But if you like the fabric better on the 8 and then you're happy with that and you get gauge,
I
you should do that. You should go with knitting it on an
okay.
8.
I'm going to do an 8. It's close. I mean, the gauge is good on the crosswise, on the stitch count. Not the row count may be off by 1, but I figured that would be the length, and it's top down. So
Yeah,
if I can adjust the length as I please, is how I feel. And I don't think it'll
absolutely.
make a big difference in the sleeve because you aren't that far down when you do the sleeves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, as far as quarter inch over 4 inches is pretty minimal. I wouldn't say that's, even 2 rows,
Okay.
right? It's like half a row over, what are
Yeah.
we looking at? 30 rows, 23 and 30, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
think,
7 plus for an inch, and so it's only a quarter.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's such
Tiny.
a small amount as to be,
Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
All right.
or if you want to go with the 7, but
I'm
like
probably going
Britt
to do
Marie
seven.
says, you have to be happy. And I know how much you enjoy swatching. So maybe not.
So it seems, I have the little guy, and I've got the one that I kind of like. So it seems silly to swatch the middle one. I either go for it with the middle one and have it a little, pooly, or I you know, go with the 8 and just call it a
Go
day.
with the 8. You like it. And I know how you like clothes to fit. You like things to fit loosely.
I do. So,
So, yeah. And I think it also, I'm sure Britt-Marie would agree, it's about the fabric and it's about the fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Anybody else have swatching questions? Sue, did you swatch? How did I know that?
No, I haven't. I just actually picked up the pattern yesterday, so I haven't had a chance. I selected my yarn. I have yarn, but I wanted to make sure that I joined tonight. So
Well, I'm glad you did because we have Britt-Marie with us, which is super special.
I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have a question for everybody too, Ellen, if you don't mind. So I want to
Please.
know how many of you are using the yarn that I used, or how many are using different yarns?
I'm using yours, I think,
Two.
right now.
The Ito?
Yeah.
The Ito? Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm doing the Ito in that the charcoal with the Coke as the carry along.
oh, that's gonna be kind of what I'm wearing.
Yeah,
It's a different pattern, but it's this kind of color.
yeah.
I love that combination so much.
When Ellen talked about it, it was just sounded so interesting. And I didn't
Yeah.
even, I just ordered it without even seeing it swatched up or anything.
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me. It was my daughter actually that told me that to try that combination, and I just couldn't believe it. The Coke sort of, takes over the charcoal gray in a sense, but it's sitting there in the back and sort of playing with you. It's gorgeous.
Sue, what are you using?
So I have some cream or off-white colored baby cashmerino. And then I have a lavender color Rowan Kid Silk Haze. So I put them together. You can hardly see the lavender. It's just going to give it a little bit of barely a sheen of the lavender. So
That's going to be gorgeous.
hope so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the beauty of the mohair. The mohair is just giving you that depth in the colors when you're adding it to anything. It's
Mhm.
just such a beautiful add-on.
I was really surprised that this was a white carried over the blue. It's
Yeah.
just so lovely. And normally my rule of thumb is never carry a lighter mohair over a darker yarn, but this works. And you really you don't see it. You don't you know what I'm talking about when you do a white over a dark, you get that sort of like there's lint on there. You don't get this at all. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
I guess because the blue is pale.
Yeah.
Sarah just sent something to the chat. It's okay, Sarah. You don't have to turn your camera on, sweetie. I was just teasing you. It's all good. Is everybody comfortable choosing their size?
What size is the one that was in the shop?
I measured this and I believe it's a small.
Would
Which
you
is
say that it's
a
this-
32, 34.
32?
It has a finished bust of I wrote it down here. Shown in small. That would give a finished, I believe it's the second size. Is it the second size or is it the first size?
I think it should be the second size. That's what I did. The bust 34. But I remember you telling me something in Chicago that you thought that it was
That was the Lova.
oh, that was the Lova. Okay. Okay.
That was the Lova. Let's just measure this one real quick. I will turn my camera on so you can see what's going on. Hello. There. Okay. So this is it on my desk. This comes out to like 19 and a quarter. So that would be like 30, 38. 19 and 19 is 38, right?
Well, that would then be the smallest size, the 32 bust.
So it looks like it's the smallest size. This is the smallest size that you knit. Because,
And that's the one from the shop, right?
correct.
Hmm.
Did you try this one on, Anne?
Yes, I loved everything about it. And it
It
fit,
is pretty much perfect.
yeah, and it fit like perfect on the bust.
Okay, so make the smallest size. I am making the second size because I had this on in Chicago and I liked the way it looked on Whitney better. And she had more ease. So I'm going to get a little more ease on mine. Right? I'm okay with that. Okay, anybody else have any questions about size? Kathy, what is everybody comfortable?
I was
With
going to
some-
do the third size, Ellen. This is Ronnie.
Yeah. The third size?
Yeah,
Sweetie, what's your full bust?
I'm a 36. If I do my measurements, I'm a 36.
Okay.
And so I just chose that, but Anne told me she had tried on yours and it fit her well. She liked it. So
And do you wear the same size, the two of you?
Ryan's
close.
probably a tad bigger, I suppose.
Yeah, tad bigger. I
You're,
think I'm gonna stick with it.
if you do the third size, you're going to have a finished bust of 43 and a quarter and 36. That's going to give you 7 inches of positive ease, which
Pretty
is
big.
what she recommends, 7 to 8 inches.
Oh, okay.
So
I'll
fine.
stick with that then.
Right.
Let's stick with that.
Remember, ease is super personal.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
okay. I do like looser things, so
So let's do it.
okay.
Okay. I know most of you know how to do a German twisted cast on, but I'm going to show you anyway.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've never done it.
Never
Okay.
assume it.
That is definitely my go-to.
Tell me why you like it so much.
Well, I just think it just stretches enough without being sloppy. And it looks pretty. It gives me that extra little give and it bounces right back. There's something about it.
A lot of people love it. I love the way it looks, but I'll tell you, it makes my hands hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So here's how you're going to do it. So, with a regular long tail cast on, you're coming up through this loop around your thumb. With the German twisted cast on, you're coming under,
Right.
and then, so you're coming under both of those strands, and then you're going to dive into that loop from top to bottom. And then you're going to come around and get that yarn. And now, do you see how there's like a little twist right there? You want to untwist that so that you can then bring your needle down through that and it's open. I'm going to show that again from several different angles. Okay, so you're coming up from underneath and then you're diving in. And then you're going to get your yarn and you're going to bring it back through that loop, but it's twisted. So we need to turn our thumb a little bit so that we can bring it back through untwisted. So let's try from this angle. Coming up, dive down, grab the yarn, and then come back. All right, I'll try it from this angle. That's not that helpful, is it? Coming up, coming up underneath and diving down, get the yarn, and then coming back through that loop, but coming through it so it's not twisted. Right? It is a very pretty cast on. And since the edge at the top of the sweater is open, you really do want to have, you know, a nice looking edging. So if you have some spare yarn and you want to kind of practice that, I can do it again with you, and we can do it sort of together, one step at a time, if you'd like. Does anybody want to grab some spare yarn if you haven't done it before?
Yes.
Sandy, did you used to did you rep for Shibui? Not Sandy, Britt-Marie.
Yes, I did.
Aha.
Right. So you recognize Anne's beautiful little vest.
I do. I was looking at it and I thought, I think I know what that is.
It's the
Yeah.
first sweater I ever made.
Oh,
And I think it had a German twist, and I made a little boo-boo down here, and I'm like so self-conscious about it. And
You
so I
shouldn't
want to
be.
do
All we're
this,
looking.
want to do this one right.
yeah, no, I did. I did look at you and I thought that looks like a Shibui piece.
Indeed it is.
And
Yeah,
I was so proud of you, Anne, because oh my goodness, we really it was a lot. For your first sweater, I think that was a lot.
Yes, you've always had a great deal of faith in me.
Of course I do.
Oh my goodness. Anyways, it is, and that was long, that was 2017, and it's cropped, and it's like, you know, still with the program here.
absolutely.
I wish I could whistle. I would give you our, but I can't. I bet Sue
No,
can whistle.
when we talk about the neckline too, I was debating back and forth, should I add something to the neckline after the fact, but I liked it the way it looked on me, so I decided not to do that. I have had people reach out and ask, can I do? And I said, of course you can. You can do anything. So some people have actually picked up in every stitch and continued for 3-4 rows in a 1 by 1. So if somebody feels that it's too little around the neck and they want to add a little something, feel free to do that. That's looks really good too. I can see if I can find that photo of that person and maybe send it to you so you can share it with your people.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think part of what is so appealing about not only this, but all of your designs is there's this beautiful Scandinavian kind of minimalism. Very clean. You know, they're very clean designs, and that's just lovely. And you know, with the fact that it's ribbed, you don't have to do anything. It's not rolling. You don't need a trim to counteract a curl or anything. To me, it just looks so clean and modern. So
Yeah, thank you. That's usually what I go for when I'm buying things myself. That's the kind of style I want. I want to be able to use it over and over again and goes with everything. And I want it to be a capsule piece.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait. I'm just so excited. Okay. So, does everybody have their yarn? They're going to practice this. Okie doke. Okay. So we'll start again. And you're just going to hold the yarn like you would if you were making a long tail. A lot of people start a long tail with a slip knot, which you can absolutely do. I never do. I just hold it here and then I bring it and put a twist. And that's my first stitch. Come on,
So
Kara.
you do use a long tail though, the way you would.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you're going to need a little more length in your tail than you would for a long tail.
What was that first stitch? How did you do that?
So the yarn is just lying across my fingers like this. Why
Yep.
is my camera wants to, there we
Yeah.
go. Oh, it's just lying across my needle, my fingers like this. Hang on. What are you focusing on? Okay. And I'm just going to
Okay,
and bring it around.
all right. Okay.
It's focusing on the joints in your
It
background.
does seem to be, yes, it does seem to be. Okay. So here we are with our one stitch on their needle. Okay.
Okay.
And we are going to come up underneath the loop that we would normally go up through. Okay. So instead of coming up through it, we're going to come under both strands. Right now, I have hold of that first stitch. My index finger is holding on to that. If you don't hold on to it, it's going to slip around. So hold on. Hold on to that. Come up. Now we're going to dive down into the loop around our thumb. I'm going to adjust my finger and hold on to what I've got. Now we're going to come around and get the yarn. Okay, now if we were to try to dive down into it, it would be twisted. So we want to turn our thumb a little bit to open that loop and come back through. And at that point, we're going to just tighten that with our thumb.
Did I do it?
Let's try it again. So under both, did you get it?
I don't know. I had like 6 stitches on my needle, so I don't think so.
Okay, let's just give it a shot. All right.
Yep.
So under both strands,
Yep.
diving down into the loop. Okay. And then we're going to come around and get that one strand. And this is the only part that's really tricky, is to come back through that loop. So if you kind of bend your thumb, it's going to open that up and untwist it, and you're coming back through it.
Okay.
So basically we're going through here and getting the yarn, and then we're coming right back out. So underneath and down through, get the yarn, and then coming back out. Hi, Tina. We're just working on the German twisted cast on. If you have not ever done this, it might be a good idea to grab some scrap yarn and give it a shot. Okay. How do we feel about this now?
I'm kind of liking it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes a very pretty edge, but it does give you a little more substantial cast on than your standard long tail. We'll show it for a difference so you can compare. So here's the German twisted. It's just a little bit longer, a little more there.
Oh my goodness. It's working.
How you doing, Anne? Doing
It's
good?
working. It's working.
I'm so happy. Tina, have you done this before, the German twisted cast on?
Yes, I have. I
Okay.
like to use it with hats. So yeah.
Right. And there is a video in the knitting toolbox on the German twisted cast on if you want to see it again. That's completely fine. Happy to, you can see that in the toolbox.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing that we wanted to kind of talk about that I think can be very confusing with any time you have a lot of stitch markers and a lot of things going on. Marker A through G. So there are a lot of markers. Whoops. And helped me a lot to kind of visualize what's happening. So, and don't look at all these needles. I do in the round on 2 circular, so it looks kind of like a porcupine. But for me, I use the same color markers to indicate the sleeves. Okay, and this is super important. I found out on Lova that as we move along and we're making our increases, it's kind of confusing to keep track of where we're making our increases because we make them after and before certain markers. So if you remember in your head that you are only increasing in body parts, okay? So I set this up so that I have the same color marker for my sleeves, right? I have yellow markers denoting my sleeve stitches. And I have blue for the back, because blue for back, B, and pink for the front because I like pink at my face, right? So the pink markers are at my face. You can use any color marker you want, but you do want to have the same color marker at each end of a section that you're going to be increasing in. Okay, so you need to have a different color to denote your front than your back, but the sleeves, it doesn't matter. So pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 markers and get 4 of one color and 2 of each of 2 other colors. Okay, so as you're going forward and you're making your increases, you know that if you're not working within the same colored markers, there's no increase. Like let's say you're here and you're wondering, am I supposed to do an increase here? No, because these are 2 different colored markers, right? So you're never going to increase between markers of a different color. And you can just sort of know that, and it will keep you on the straight and narrow. Right? It's also kind of helpful to, since both of your front neckline markers are going to be the same color, I've got a locking stitch marker here to indicate that this is my beginning of round front marker. So your second neck marker, your second front neck marker is your beginning of round as you're coming around. You also know because your tail is there, but as you get further along, it's going to be further away, your tail, and it's just nice to have this very visual reminder. Plus, I love pretty stitch markers. Yeah, this isn't this cute. It's a butterfly wing. So that makes me super happy. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that will be very, very helpful for you if you can do that. And it also helps you to remember when you're doing your short rows. So think about how the garment is shaped. You want to have additional length in the back. Okay, when we do a short row, what that does is it creates additional length in one area. And she, Britt-Marie, brilliantly, has done a beautiful extra shaping all the way kind of around here, right, in this back neck. So you have a really pretty generous neckline in the back that's a little bit deeper. It makes it sit on your shoulders so much nicer. I would love to hear your thoughts on that, Britt-Marie talking maybe a little about how you do the back neck shaping.
Yeah, I think that first of all, I want to say, what a beautiful advice to have the different colored markers to. I didn't do that, and I think that's must be so much easier because you know that all the increases are happening on the inside of the sleeve. It never happens inside the raglan. The raglan always stays the 9 stitches. But to see you having the markers colored like that, that's going to help tremendously. Yeah, you always want to, not always, but most of the time you want the back to be slightly higher than the front. It doesn't have to be more than a couple of rows, but you do want that to sit nicely up on your shoulder and then a little bit deeper in the front. Otherwise, you're going to get your neckline really choking you up here, and you don't want that. So that's really the reason that you were explaining, Ellen, why you do it. And I like the German short rows. I tried a couple of other ones too, but those are my go-to. I think that they close up nicely. I don't know, Ellen, which one do you use mostly? What do you
German
prefer?
short row. Yeah, I
Yeah,
use a German short row. I
yeah.
used to, I mean, unless I'm knitting in garter stitch.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, so there's just a couple of rows of short rows in the back to lift it up a little bit higher. And if, of course, it's going to be, again, very helpful to have all those markers colored because you know exactly if you're going too far, you know when to turn. But I also say, really, even though you have colored marker, keep in mind the A, B, C, D, all the way to G as well, so that you know when you're turning, make sure that you are turning at the right place. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think you should have like a little notation. So you can on your pattern here, you can say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you know that A for me is yellow and B is yellow and C is blue and D is blue and E is yellow, F is yellow, and F, G, yeah, and then there's our beginning of round. And then this is pink and this is pink. So you can have that kind of written down on the side so that you can, refer to it. You could even say Y1, Y2,
Yeah.
I think once you get kind of into it, you'll be able to sort of see if you keep in mind the fact that you are shaping back here and you're not working these stitches. These are the stitches that aren't getting worked, right? Because these are your front neck stitches and you want that extra length to live here in the back. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, because I think in the very beginning, in the first, after you do the setup round and the first 2 rows, when you start doing the German short rows, it could be a little confusing because you're wondering, for example, on row 2 on the wrong side, it says work in pattern to beginning of the round, slip marker, and then do your double increase. Work 2 stitches and then turn. So you wonder, why do I only do it 1 time? But that's because you didn't do it. You didn't do the increases at that point on the first row. So I would say just trust the pattern and just read exactly what it says. Have the markers like Ellen suggests, and then you should be good to go.
Thank you. Do we want to look at this increase and how we're going to do the increase? Okay, so I have gone ahead and worked my first 2 rows. I did my setup round, I did my cast on, and I joined it in the round. And I did my setup row where I placed the markers, and then I did round 1 and round 2. So I am at the back neck shaping area. So do you see that on page 2 of your pattern. Is that page 2? It's page 3 of your pattern. Right, so on page 3 of your pattern, so here's my beginning of the round. I am to take my glasses off. I can't see with my glasses on. Isn't that sad? All right, so now I know that I'm going to be increasing in here because I'm going to be increasing for my, I believe that's right. It says work and pattern to marker A. So this is marker A. This is my first yellow marker. To marker A, slip marker, knit, yarn over, knit. So knit, yarn over, knit means you're going to knit into that stitch and bring it through, but don't take the stitch off of your needle. Yarn over, bring the yarn to the front of your work. And now you can knit, you could actually knit into the front if you wanted to, but Britt-Marie's pattern uses to knit into the back stitch here, which creates a little tiny bar. And that is a decorative element. Okay, that gives you, it gives you this, right? So when you have that stitch growing out, so here's your knit, here's the stitch that you knit. This purl in between is created by the yarn over. And then this little bar increase is the exact same increase that you would get if you did a knit front and back, right? So this is purposefully done that way to give a little interest along the raglan line. Any of you who have done raglans bottom up before know that a lot of times you will do your decrease in the opposite direction that you normally would, right? If you're knitting bottom up and you're doing decreases, they're less visible if you work the decrease in the direction of the shaping. But for a raglan, you often work the decrease opposite the direction of the shaping, so it's more visible. It's just one of those like little touches that says, hey, this is handmade, right? Because you can't do this on a machine. So that is effected by coming along and knitting into the back of that stitch. Right, I'm going to show that again on this pale yarn because I think it's easier to see. So a knit yarn over knit is going to be knit into the front of that stitch, give yourself some slack, come around, but keep the stitch on your needle, bring your yarn to the front, and then knit into the back of that stitch. So that's given you 2 additional stitches. You've taken that 1 stitch and you've made 3 stitches out of it. And I think this is brilliant because this is a pattern stitch that's a multiple of 2. So if you were to try to increase just 1 stitch, you'd have a whole hassle of working the extra stitch into the pattern, but this is automatically worked into the pattern. So yay, Britt-Marie. So we would have purl, knit, purl, knit. This next one would be a purl, knit, purl. Oops. I'll do that again so you can see it. Now, if you were to decide that you didn't want that little bar increase, you could knit into the front of the stitch, same, give yourself some slack, bring the yarn to the front, and you can either knit into the front of that stitch again, or you could simply slip that back stitch without working it. Right? I think you're going to get a better look if you don't want that decorative increase, knit into the front of it again. This is on the first row, so obviously hard to mess with. So you could all right, we'll knit, yarn over. You can knit into that same stitch again. Okay. Now, are we clear? Does that make sense on the increase? And Britt-Marie, are you changing that if someone wanted to? They didn't want that little bar.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is up to, I guess, I want to give the reins to the knitters and do what they feel is going to look the best. Do you think, Ellen, that if you do it the last way you described, that it will give a bigger hole there?
I think it might, but I think what you'd have to do when you got to that yarn over is you would
Yeah.
have to work the yarn over through the back.
Okay, so that was
To
that
close
was
it up.
something that I thought I mentioned, that I'm glad you said that. So when you on the next time you get back to that yarn over, you knit it from the back instead.
Yeah, let's have a look at it and we can see what
Yeah.
happens. All right. Okay, so let's have a look and see. I didn't knit anything through the back loop, and I don't see a hole there. This is where it would be, there would be a hole there,
Exactly. Yeah.
but I'm not seeing it. So again, if you wanted it to look, to not have the decorative increase, then I would go knit, yarn over, knit. So it's just a thing, it's your option. I had somebody ask about that because they were struggling with the knit through the back, the knit,
Okay, because it
yarn
was,
over, knit through the
yeah,
back. I said, you don't have to do that, but you won't get that little
yeah.
increase.
Yeah, I tried a couple of different things as I was designing the piece, and I came to the conclusion after my swatching that that's the look that I was after.
Yeah.
And I thought I noticed that it became a hole if I did it from the front, but I might be wrong.
I think everybody's different. I think it's such a pretty detail.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware of how much I liked it until I really sort of looked through it, and I really do. I like it quite a lot. You know, I think a lot of times the designer knows what they're doing. And yeah, you can make changes and all that stuff, but you know, the more changes you make, then it becomes less and less like the garment that attracted you in the first place.
And also remember that there's not just one way of doing things. There's so many ways to do things. So just because I like a certain way doesn't mean that it's the best always.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So I'm okay with either way. They both work. But that, I think with those strong vertical that you have, you might, you know, with the ribbing, you might really enjoy that little sort of notch that gives that pretty little effect. Yeah, I think it would miss something without that. You know, I think you might miss something. So let's look at
the one by one ribbing a little bit, gives it a little bit something different there.
yeah. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so let's then talk about how we're doing the German short row. So, Britt-Marie, is there a difference right left, or it doesn't matter? They're both done the same way, and they both.
Yeah, they're both done exactly the same way, whether it's on the wrong side or the right side of the fabric. Yes.
No, I mean after the marker or before the marker. I mean, they're done the same way. It doesn't to me look like they do look symmetrical.
Are you talking about the increases now?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. No, they are symmetrical. They are done exactly the same way. I thought you were talking about the short rows.
Yeah, no.
No, they're done exactly the same on both sides of the
Yeah.
marker.
Yeah, and I think they look great. I'm messing with it here, and so you can see I think it looks really good. What you have is you have this this extra stitch growing out from it, each side, and it looks terrific. Okay, awesome. So let's look at that German short row, because that is something that I think a lot of folks struggle with.
Before you move on, may I ask a question
Of course.
about that, that double increase?
Uh-huh.
So that first one is going to happen at that left sleeve. So after you do that increase on that left sleeve, you start off with 5 stitches, because I'm doing the smallest size.
Mm-hmm.
It's now going to become 7 stitches, is that right?
No, it's going to become 9 stitches,
Yes.
Wait,
because you're doing an increase here, and they're both double increases. So you're increasing 4 stitches.
okay.
Do you
Okay, I
follow
got it.
me?
Yes, and you're
Right.
going to do that at each end, because I was a little bit confused by the okay, so the first increase, working pattern to marker, slip marker. Okay, then you do your increase. Oh wait. Never mind, not at this one. I don't know why I thought it was an extra knit there. I don't know. Never mind. Thank you.
So with the increase, you slip the marker, and then you're going to do your increase in that first stitch. Now, as you come to before the marker, you're going to work your increase in that stitch that's just before the marker,
Okay.
right?
Yes, yes,
Do you follow?
I do. Yeah, I must have written it down wrong.
So
Because I
right
made myself
here,
a little chart.
Yeah, good.
And when I made my chart, I was, I think I wrote that you were going to do the stitch before the last stitch. Do you know what I mean? That's where I thought you were gonna make your increase. So I think I messed up when I was creating my chart.
Right. You're going to make your increase in the first stitch and the last stitch,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
right? And you're going to
Mhm.
increase that first stitch by 2 and your last stitch by 2.
Okay,
So you're jumping 4 stitches each section. Right? Okay. So let's do that short row. I love the way Britt-Marie explains it. She says just work the number of stitches that it says. So you're going to work in pattern. All right. And we'll do it in a knit stitch and a purl stitch. Okay. So let's say we're going to do our short row right here. We're going to work that stitch, and then we're going to turn our work. And then with our yarn in front, we're going to slip that stitch we just made over to our right hand needle. Okay. And then we're going to take our yarn and we're going to pull it all the way up. Basically, what we want to do is we want to kind of make that stitch go away. We want to tighten it all the way back, and then we're going to work in pattern. So this is a knit stitch. We're going to knit that stitch. Okay, and then now we'll do that with a purl stitch. So we will purl that next stitch, right? And we're going to turn our work. And with our yarn in front, this is really important. You need to have your yarn in front. You're going to slip that stitch. And remember, we're always slipping purlwise, no matter whether it's a knit or a purl. Slip that purlwise. And we're going to do the same thing. It looks a little wonky here, right? But you're just pulling it up. You're trying to expose the 2 legs of the stitch below the one that's on your needle. Okay, so our next stitch is a purl stitch. So we need to pull this all the way up and around and to the front. And then we'll purl. Now we'll get to that place where we did our short row here. Okay, and this is a knit stitch. Now that's our short row, that's our turn. Okay, that's our turning stitch. And you see how you've got this like 2 legs up there? It's called a double stitch. What you want to do is you want to work that together in pattern. So if this was a purl, you're going to knit those 2 stitches together. Right? And then purl, knit. Okay, does anybody need to see the short row again? Say yes or no.
No, but
No, okay.
why did we make those 2 little legs? Why did we pull them up like that? It's just so we could see where they were when we came back?
Well, what happens is you're working across these stitches. And have you ever done a wrap and turn short row?
Well, I've done German short rows before, but it's been a while.
Okay, basically what you're doing is you are creating a stitch that isn't going to be worked that row, but So we're going to come back over these stitches, and this stitch that we're going to work our German short row on is part of the stitches that aren't going to be knit or, or worked. So when we work that, that's still, we've worked it, it's on our right needle, but it's not going to be part of the fabric that's getting lengthened. So we're going to turn it around and we're going to take that stitch and we're going to say, okay, you don't get to come with us. You're not going to be part of the group that's getting worked extra here. And we need to basically remove that. We lift that up and over to take the stitch that is on our needle and basically eliminate it. Okay, when we tighten that up, there is no stitch.
Gotcha.
Okay, we've eliminated that. And then when we come back through, if you didn't do that, there would be a gap. Right? If you didn't do anything, if you just let's say we worked that stitch and then we just turned, if we didn't do something, we would have a hole there.
Okay.
Right? We'd have that hole. So this is just sort of a little bit of knitting magic that allows you to close that up.
Gotcha.
I don't know how to explain it better than that.
Knitting magic. I like it.
But then a miracle
Magic.
occurs. To me, it's very clear when you're doing a wrap and turn. You're basically putting your arm around that one stitch that's getting left behind, so that it continues to be part of the fabric and there isn't a gap. But with this, to be honest, other than to say that the stitch in question has been eliminated, because there it is. There's that teeny little bit of stitch left. And we're basically saying, go away, I don't know why it works exactly, but it does. Do you know, Britt-Marie? Can you explain it?
I think you explained it beautifully, Ellen. I think the hardest that I've heard people have with this particular short row is when to identify which one is it that is double stitch. To be able to identify your double stitch when you come back to it, you might want to explain that and show it to them. You talked about the two legs. When you see that and really making sure that you are knitting into both of those legs, whether it's knitting or purling. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to create a little mishap.
Yeah, if you knit into them separately, you'll get an extra stitch.
Yeah.
So if you look at your knitting at this point, you can, and you were to kind of count, you would see that you have this sort of strange situation,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, and for example, in this pattern particularly, you knit the double stitch together, and then you knit another two, or you work in pattern another two stitches before you turn again. In some
Yeah.
patterns, they want you to make the turn before the double stitch. So what some people then have a hard time with is they're counting the double stitch as two stitches, but it's just one when you're counting. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, this little glob is just one stitch.
Yeah.
So it might, some patterns will say work to 3 stitches before, and I think that the use of the term short row, work to 3 stitches before your short row. No. Work to 3 stitches before your turning stitch,
Yeah.
right? So that's your turning stitch, that little mess on your needle. So you would work to 3 stitches before that, and then you would turn. And this has to do with how you're shaping it. Are you shaping it wider each time or narrower each time? And in this case, we're doing it narrower each time, aren't we? Or wider each time?
Yeah, well, we are knitting the 2 stitches and then working another 2 stitches before you turn again. So that would be wider, right?
Right. So we're working into the front neckline. Right? As we turn it. So
Yes.
with our pattern here, we start and we're going to do all of our increases all the way around to our front neckline. And then we're going to slip that and we are going to do our increase at this portion in the front neck. And then we're going to turn and we're going to work all the way back around. And then we're going to come here to the other side of our front neckline and make making our increase because we didn't do it on the first side.
Correct.
Right. And then you're going to come back around. You're going to be working those. I haven't read that far yet. You're working those and then you're coming back and you're doing it a little further in. Is that correct? Into the front neckline. So we
Yes.
are increasing the amount of fabric that is getting lengthened. So this will be a little longer than this portion. So you'll get a widening and a narrowing here. Right? Okay, and they're not very many. It's only like a few rows.
There's not many at all. You know, as soon as you get past that, it's just flying through with increases.
Right. So can everybody see that double stitch and what that looks like? I mean, you're going to get to that place and it's going to be on your needle and you're going to be like, what did I do here? Okay. That's your turning stitch. And you need to go, you're not knitting here. You're knitting through both of them. Right? And honestly, if you take the tip of your needle and of your right needle and you put it on the left needle and you slide it toward the tip, you're going to get both loops and you're just going to work them together. Another thing that the lifting up of that stitch does, as I said, we are eliminating that one stitch. When we work it together, if we hadn't done that, hadn't lifted that up and made the stitch on our needle smaller, there would be a lot of extra fabric right here. There would be extra yarn sort of flopping around there. And you don't want that. So this is such a tidy way of working short rows. There used to be like a yarn over short row back in the old days. Do you remember that, Britt-Marie? You would do a yarn over.
No,
And
I
it was
don't
sloppy.
remember that. You know, I
Anyway.
used to not like short rows when I started knitting. I thought, oh, this is so messy and so. But when you really have done a few of them, it makes it much easier and easier as you go.
Yeah, it's like everything. I think you get used to it and you learn and you do better. But how are we feeling about this? I mean, I think these are the tricky bits for this time is getting used to making that increase, casting on with that German German twisted cast. Boy, we're doing all the German things with this. The German twisted cast on and the German short rows. I read somewhere that all of these techniques that have like European or whatever names, they aren't actually from that country. They were given those names to sound special. And I read that in is it Betty Walker? Who is that?
Barbara Walker?
No, Elizabeth, somebody. Mary Thomas. Mary Thomas.
Okay.
That's old school, Mary Thomas. Anyway, I thought that was funny. You know, the Turkish this and the that, and it's ooh, isn't that like exotic? So, okay. So do we have any questions? any of you who are hiding there in the, with your cameras off? Have any questions? Are we good? All right.
Are all you ladies close to Ellen, so you can go in for help when if you need to, or?
We'll have
Thank
to.
goodness. Thank goodness, yes.
I'm in California.
Dawn.
Britt-Marie, where are you?
I'm in San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, I'm in Marin.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll come find you.
yeah, come on. Yeah, please do. You can, send me a message on Ravelry, and if I'm passing by, I go up to Marin all the time because my daughter moved to Sonoma. So please, if you have any
Great.
questions,
Great. Thank you.
yeah,
You guys could get coffee or something. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
absolutely.
So
No, I'm
fun.
happy to help. But Ellen, it's so good that you have the camera set up that you can really show people, how to do it, and you're taping this too, so they can go back and look at it.
I hope it works. Sometimes the camera is like not sure where
Yeah.
it's supposed to be focusing, but we do our best.
Yeah, no, it was very thorough.
So if we could get through that this time, I think everything is pretty straightforward with your body increases, and I think we could get through all of those increases to where we're going to divide for the sleeves. That would be the goal. May or may not happen, but I think this portion is pretty quick. And before some of you came on, Britt-Marie and I talked about changing, and I think it was Tina that had mentioned changing the depth of the armhole. And Britt-Marie verified that just doing a couple rounds fewer or a round fewer in between. We talked about 7 rows, about 7 rows to the inch. If you wanted to do that and you did 1 row fewer, it would be fine. So yeah, we got her blessing.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's what I was planning, is just, doing 1 row less.
You mean 1 repeat?
But yes.
Oh,
No,
okay.
in between the repeats, 1 row fewer between each repeat.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Yeah.
That's going to spread the fewer rounds more evenly among
Mhm.
the total number of rounds, I think.
And I
Yeah,
think
and
it
it-
should
and-
equal out to maybe just an inch less, which, yeah, what I was shooting for.
Yeah. So a lot of these ladies are in an online club that I have. So we meet together and we talk about working through sweater, making sweaters fit us perfectly. And we talk about the fact that designers have to design to a standard, right? You can't design for every single person. You have to design for, one metric, which is the bust line, and extrapolate the rest of the measurements. And that's okay. We are responsible for figuring out what size we need things to be and how to adjust to them. So that's what I do in that, in the club, is I help us, each of us, figure out what size we want and how to get the pattern adjusted so that it fits our body the way we like it. Because nobody is the size of the pattern at all,
I think it's
you
great that
always are
you're-
going to have to adjust. You might be because you knit it, for yourself, but
Yeah. But I think it's really good that you're doing that with your knitters too, because then they learn construction. They learn, why are we doing this, and what happens if I change it and do this. So it's, they all learn something. So it makes sense for the next project and so forth.
absolutely. So Whitney, how are you feeling about this? Because Whitney, I said I would take the lead on this first one, but Whitney is going to be leading most of the knit-alongs on this.
I feel good. I did my German twisted cast on while we were here, and I placed my markers, and on row 2.
Good for you.
I feel
Good, good,
good.
good.
I feel good. Knitting with this yarn is so lovely.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
great. Oh, we're not going to talk about blocking yet, but if I don't come on the last, next week, I'm not going to be able, the next one, when is the next one, Ellen?
We're just gonna meet every week. We're just gonna meet
Okay.
every week until, what is it? I think like December, something. I
Something,
can't
yeah.
remember how many I scanned.
So,
I think it's going to be pretty fast, and I will get through it and we'll record all of the things. And then if somebody's not done, they can look at the recording, and that's completely fine. Nobody's obligated to keep up with us. But what is our last one? I don't know, but I would love to have you come to as many or as few as you like. I know you have a life.
yeah, so next week I'm going to be on the road, so I won't be able to, but the other two I most likely can pop in. And I just wanted to make sure that we talk about blocking at the end, blocking with Ito yarns. That's because it's so different than blocking any other yarns. But we can do that at the last session.
Okay, great. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Something to look forward to.
Yeah,
This yarn, I love this yarn so much. I love this combination. I love everything about Ito. I am so on board.
great. I'm happy.
I loved Shibui too, but I like Ito more.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, I think
It
that
feels
uh, just to give you a little bit of a teaser, my new love in Ito is Rakuda. So just keep that in mind, Rakuda.
Tell me what Rakuda is, because I don't carry it and I don't even know. Is it cotton?
No, Rakuda is 80% merino and 20% camel.
Ooh.
I have
Do you have
seen that.
anything designed in it?
Yes, I do. And I'm telling you, it is so, actually the one I'm wearing is that there's
Oh.
something about it. I think it's got to be the camel that's making it so luscious. Yeah, it's great. I can have you borrow a couple of those pieces too for later on if you want.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Yeah.
It's so fun to have your stuff. I mean, honestly, when we had Loba in the shop when I did my grand opening in the new location, and I had not put the kits together. I hadn't done anything, but everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that? That is beautiful. That is beautiful." It's like, yes, it's gorgeous. I was busy, and then I had to quick like a bunny get all the kits put together. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, having your stuff in there and having people try it on and
Yeah.
feel it, it is so wonderful. And it's very luxurious, but I think it's really pretty accessible. Shibui,
Yeah.
I think on purpose was maybe a little less accessible, part of their brand, but I think Ito is just, I mean, it's every bit as luxurious and wonderful. But like I said, I think it's, there are a variety of price points in there with,
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have a lower price point than Shibui was,
Mhm.
for sure. And the colors are different too. You have everything from sparkly, not sparkly, but strong colors, and then you have the more saturated colors like the jewel tones. So it's a nice mix.
Absolutely. So wonderful. Okay, well, you guys know where to reach me. If you want something from me, the best way, or somebody in the shop, the best way to reach me is through the on the website, the little shop app. There's a little chat with us or something that is going to go to the inbox of everybody on the team. So we all know. And whoever is on will get back to you as soon as they can. And if you're in the club, bring your questions to Block Talk and we'll talk about it then. And until next week, I hope you have lots of fun knitting this gorgeous thing. And I can't thank you enough for joining us, Britt-Marie. It really was such a treat.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
All right. So they're my dogs. They're saying it's time, Mom. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Same
Thank
link
you.
for next time.
Thank you.
Same link every time. Okay.
Okay,
So
great.
not to worry. All right.
Great.
Bye.
Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.